welcome everybody to our program. You're listening to Prophecy in the Spotlight. I'm your host, Brother Dan Goodwin. Sitting with me, the world's greatest co-host, Dr. Charles Hiltibidal is with us today.
Hey, man.
And, Doc, folks really like you on the program. They enjoy you.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I enjoy you, but no, I'm kidding. But no, we have a good time on here.
Yes,
we laugh sometimes, but it's serious stuff.
It is serious. Yep.
And I tell you so often, what we're doing here is important.
I talked with a pastor yesterday, and he said, what you guys are doing is very, very important. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Now, this is YouTube. It's also our weekly radio program that airs on many stations around the country, mostly on Sunday, but I think some people play it some other days. And I thought today, Doc, that we would just do some signs of the times, old-fashioned Bible prophecy. You don't get any more old-fashioned than the signs of the times.
We got 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's how many there is out there.
Wow. Let me start out with a verse that she'll put on the screen for the folks that are watching. And if you're listening via the radio, we want you to know where you go to Prophecy in the Spotlight, and you can find our YouTube channel and our Rumble channel, all of our shows and updates, radio programs. Everything is right there. That might be handy for you to know. I'm going to read Matthew 16, verses 2 and 3. And it says this, He answered and said unto them, When it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, the Lord says, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs of the times? Doc, I think that's the only place in the Bible where that phrase is used.
In that kind of a setting, yes.
The signs of the times that we talked about.
In the context, he was speaking concerning his first coming.
Right.
But it's applicable because we're seeing the same thing today.
He was upset with them because they missed his first coming.
They were missing it.
And I bring this out in my book, The Mystery of the Jubilee, which I'm reading out of here. He was very upset with them because here he is, prophesied from Daniel 9.
And he's fulfilled all these things in front of their very eyes.
Yeah. And they should have realized that this was the time of their visitation, that the Lord was to come on the scene.
Well, if nothing else, they could have surely counted the time from Daniel's prophecy and know they're at about 483 years.
Yeah. In other words, they know that there's still a few years left before he comes down the hill on the donkey. And fulfilled Zechariah 9.
Well, at that time, it would not even been a year from where you are in Matthew.
All right, Matthew 16.
It would have been in the last year of his ministry.
It probably was, yeah. So they should have known that the Messiah is somewhere walking the earth.
Yeah.
And they should have known already that he was him because everyone heard of him.
Sure.
They all been talking about this guy doing miracles.
And they'd seen all the miracles that he'd done, and the list goes on and on.
Now, the illustration he gives here is for us old-timers, we understand this. The younger crowd probably doesn't.
Well,
this thing about the sky.
They click the app to see what the weather is.
Yeah. But I was in the Navy, and this is a naval term. Red sky at night, sailor delight. In other words, red sky at night is going to be a nice day tomorrow. Red sky in the morning, sailor take warning. I grew up with that. And, of course, in the Navy, we understood that. And, and even today in the Navy, it didn't matter that much. I mean, not with the ships we have. But in the old days, them old sailboats and stuff, it made a lot of difference. You had to know what the weather was going to be or you could die out there.
But even today, though, isn't it amazing how even in Christian circles, we can discern all kinds of things. But most of our churches are filled with folks that have no idea what's really going on right now.
So the signs of the times, and we could spend the next hour talking about current events. We're not going to talk about current events in this show.
And how they find themselves in
now we talk about current events on the show many times, but today we're going to look at just old-fashioned signs of the time. I love it. And I think probably all of us, when we first got introduced to prophecy, this is probably what got us. Some preacher got up and talked about the signs of the times. What's it going to be like when the Lord comes back? And he starts listing off these things.
Right.
And that's what we're going to talk about. The first one I got listed here is 2 Timothy 3. In the last days, perilous times shall come. And there's a whole list of things there. You want to comment just for a minute or so?
Of course, perilous could be in various different areas. But you look around today, and the culture is in perilous times. Politically, the entire world is in perilous times. With the transgender movement, pedophilia, the list goes on of what we would call perilous times.
And he starts out with lovers of their own selves.
Yeah.
Now this is the selfie generation. I mean, we joke about it, and we all do selfies now and then. But think about that.
They say, I forget how many it is, but multiple millions of selfies taken every day.
It's all about us now.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, look at me.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of handy, to talk to your family, when you get to see your grandkids instead of just hear their voice.
Covetous, boasters.
Boy, are we there.
Yeah, braggers.
Every
proud.
politician's got the answer, but I learned a while ago, they don't even know the question. Yeah.
Yeah, the real problem is a country with our Constitution will not survive without old-fashioned Bible morality.
That's right.
Christianity.
Did you see where this Congress lady got caught taking Bibles up so the rest of the congressmen couldn't get it?
Taking what up?
Collecting the Bibles up so they couldn't have at them.
I didn't know.
Oh yeah, it's just in the news yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So the signs of the times. One of the signs of the times that the Bible points to that shows that we're near the end, or shows where we're at, is this second Timothy chapter 3. Whole list of things.
And it goes on, with children and with relationships with their parents, and oh my goodness.
Yeah. False accusers, incontinent, truce breakers, fierce, despisers of those that are good.
Boy, is that ever
That's
it.
despisers. That's where we're at.
That's where we are right now.
The people who are against mutilating kids were despised. The U.S. government, Tennessee just passed a law about, they made it illegal to dismember and mess with kids that are underage.
Yes.
And
the whole world, the rest of the states are after them.
The United States government has filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
The Justice Department has filed a lawsuit. They're letting people out of jail. They're not going after criminals, but they're going after people who passed a law to protect little kids.
To protect little kids.
That's where we are today.
Did you see in Minneapolis that they submitted a thing before their state to reduce and remove the penalties of pedophilia?
Oh, I did see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, it's coming.
Yeah, Minnesota's
it's coming.
a mess. And of course.
Well, that's Islamists.
Yeah, and they have a little thing with kids, don't they?
Oh yes, they have a big thing with it.
Yeah, and so does our president.
Oh,
my goodness! You see the videos of him.
Our government is complicit in all of this. Oh, it's sad, Dan. It's sad.
If somebody could come back that died 30 years ago and come back,
they would not even know our country.
They'd be shocked at what's happened to us.
Yeah.
Well, another one here. Let's throw this one out here, Doc. The Daniel 12. But thou, Daniel, shut up the word, seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run into to and fro. Knowledge shall be increased. Let me give you the knowledge part, but let me start with running to and fro, because that's one of the signs of the times that every prophecy speaker will talk about this. Yeah. Daniel 12 seems to be saying that in the last days, it's the running to and fro generation.
Boy.
I can attest to that today. Yeah. I've been running to and fro today, and I'll be running to and fro when we leave the studio. I'll be running to and fro tomorrow, all the way into western Missouri, and then down to Arkansas, and then Saturday I'll be headed into Texas. Yeah. It's a running to and fro generation.
It is. Very few people in our world today would have even the opportunity to meditate if they knew how.
Yeah.
Too busy going.
Yeah. I'm one of these guys, my brain goes all the time. Sometimes I think there's something wrong with me. I just thinking all the time.
Yeah, your wife told me there was, but
she could tell you a lot of things, but that's why we don't let her behind the microphones. But she knows things about me.
But you're right. The speed of travel, the availability of travel, worldwide travel.
Years ago, 1800s, early 1900s, even up to probably the mid 1900s, you didn't go anywhere. No. Very seldom. In the 1800s, no cars. You had to ride a horse, you had to walk, a wagon. You had a farm. You had to take care of that farm. You had cattle, you had milk cows. You didn't just get up and say, "Yeah, we're going to take off for a few days." It didn't happen.
And if they made it into town once a month, they bought their supply. Even as a boy growing up on the farm, we had all those responsibilities, and I can tell you, we went to town once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
today, most people make it to wherever they're going a half a dozen times in a day.
Probably in the 1800s, a person never went more than 50 or 100 miles from home, ever.
Well, I think it took about 6 months to go the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Today you could drive that in less than 2 days.
A lot of people died, especially the women.
Yes.
A lot of the women died in childbirth on them journeys.
So the next part of that is
so you take that one. Knowledge shall be increased.
My goodness, the amount of knowledge, because of technology, the computer age in which we live, and now the artificial intelligence that's been developed with that, the accumulation of new information, new data, it is mind-boggling. And I think that's what the Lord knew, that in the end time, this is where we would be. And you can't get away from it. I know Elon Musk is going to meet before Senate either tomorrow or next week to talk about artificial intelligence, good and bad. And I'm telling you, it is no doubt the program for the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And this is where we are.
The signs of the time. So we got 2 Timothy 3, perilous times shall come, and a whole list of what it'll be like, and we're there. Increased travel, and knowledge is increased. And we did a show on that.
Yes.
You had some tremendous stuff that you brought for that. And I wrote here the tremendous, almost frightening increase and availability of knowledge. And we talked about that in one of the shows.
It is frightening. It really is.
Here's another one, Doc. In our generation, for the first time in history, one man can effectively rule the entire world. Because this is the computer, the satellite generation, technology, we call it now. And a man can sit in a room and be in touch with somebody around the globe.
When they get the CBDC, the central bank digital currencies, right now, Dan, 114 nations already have it ready to go.
Yeah.
Some of them are already doing it. And the Fed coin and everything is ready to interconnect all of this. It will be easy for one man in a very short time from now to be able to control your buying and selling.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, one more here real quick, Doc. We got 1 minute left. You can't skip this one, Israel.
Oh, yeah.
Signs of the times, Israel. That's all you got to say, Israel. Yeah. The old-timers said this, the old-time preachers that I remember hearing. And if you want to know where we are on God's time clock, keep your eyes on Israel.
Keep your eyes on Israel and realize that all of prophecy, either directly or indirectly, revolves around Israel.
Yeah.
Not the other nations.
You're exactly
like we
right.
think.
Yep, you're exactly right. And you're one of the first guys that I ever heard make that statement. People don't realize, they think it's about America. It's not. It's not about us. We may have a part to play, but it's not about us. It's about the nation of Israel.
If it's direct or indirect, it's around Israel.
All right, folks, well, that's just, I think we gave you 4 of them. There's many more we could talk about, but the signs of the times. Jesus is coming, and he's coming soon. Are you ready to meet him? Contact us if you need any help with that. Until next time, keep your eyes on them skies.